Hey guys, Jeff here with Ghost Knight Gaming, and hey, we are back with another From Console to Screen. This time we are taking a look at the really recent, as in last week, release of Mortal Kombat, released this year in 2021. Now, because I'm going to be talking about a whole lot of game stuff and a whole lot of stuff about the movie, we're just going to point out really quickly that, yeah, we're going to be spoiling and talking about a lot of story elements, accuracy elements, and all that kind of stuff. So if you don't want any spoilers, I recommend you wait until you go check out the movie, then come hang out here and see if you agree with what I had to say. Usual things, we're going to take a look at all the aspects of the movie, and then we're going to give it a final score. Hopefully you guys will enjoy checking this out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and let's get to the story. Okay, so we are going to take a look at the story first, and we're going to kind of break it down as best we can. Obviously, like I said before, and here's your final warning, spoilers ahead as we talk pretty deeply about the story here. So the story kind of starts off a little mysterious as we're brought to a Japanese village out in the middle of nowhere. But it comes off very quickly that we're probably talking about Sub-Zero and Scorpion. So I should say that's what's going on here. Hanzo Hazashi is with his family, and then the Lin Kuei attack the Shirai Ryu with the intent of killing absolutely everybody. So we are introduced very early on to both Scorpion and Sub-Zero, more specifically Bi-Han Sub-Zero. But here's where the story changes up a little bit. Apparently, he didn't just have his wife and son, which is the typical plot for this. He also has another child, a daughter, as well. So we start to explore something a little bit different. Then it flash forwards, and we find this out later that was actually several hundred years ago. Which I was going, wait, what? We come to modern times. We see a fella about to go into a fight. He's doing okay, and then he gets pummeled. We discover this character is named Cole Young, and once again I was going, wait, what? Who's this? And we start very quickly seeing some introduction to characters as we discover that they're preparing for Mortal Kombat. They are following the first game storyline of where they're preparing for the 10th Mortal Kombat tournament, and all of the warriors are being dealt with. But however, one of the things that are going on, Shang Tsung is already cheating. He's going around and he's sending his assassins, he's sending Bi-Han and others to go kill all of these destined fighters who, for some reason, all have the Mortal Kombat dragon as a mark. Okay, interesting. So Cole meets up with Jax. Apparently he knows him from somewhere. And Jax saves them, but gets basically wrecked by Sub-Zero in that fight. Cole goes off, and he eventually heads out to go find these other fighters, actually trying to find Sonya Blade. He finds Sonya Blade in a trailer park where she is like a tinfoil conspirator, currently working on finding out more about these marked individuals and learning about the tournament and all these little things. You see a couple of Easter eggs to a couple of characters from the Mortal Kombat universe. And then we also find that she has Kano locked in her base or in her shed. And so once again, it's like, okay, this seems par for the course, but then all of a sudden they start working together because reptile attacks. And so I'm going to go right into the first thing I noticed about this is rapid fire. There is a lot of stuff happening super quick. We're getting a lot of characters introduced, and they introduce a lot of characters. They could introduce Nitara, they introduce Cabal, they introduce Shang Tsung, Liu Kang. Geez, now I can't even keep track. And then there's Cole Young here, who, as we discover a little bit later, and major spoilers here, so cover your ears now, la 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 la. Cole is the descendant of Scorpion, of Hanzo Hazashi, and that's why he was born with the birthmark, or this Mortal Kombat mark, and everybody else has them granted to them. They don't explain that very well. But part of their training as they eventually find Raiden's temple is they have to unlock their arcana. or Arcana. It's really hard to tell what they're trying to say. Basically, they're super secret powers, and this is how they give Kano his eye laser. Instead of being cybernetics, it's superpowers. And that's actually how they explain everybody's. Now, if you go deep enough into backstories for a lot of characters, there is some sort of supernatural background to them. Even characters like Johnny Cage have stuff like this, who doesn't show up at all in the movie. We'll just say that now. He gets referenced for potential sequel, but that's about it. Now, once again, as we're progressing, we actually, uh, once again, this actually, it's talking about the 10th tournament, but this all happens before. Like this is all Shang Tsung cheating and them dealing with that. We haven't even gotten to the actual tournament yet. And admittedly, we've actually already killed off a couple of people from the first tournament by the time that the story is done. There are a couple of really interesting moments. Like I said, the pacing is really fast for this. It feels like something that was compressed too much. And I mean, the movie already was almost a 2-hour movie. And it probably actually either could have been longer, A, or B, actually separated into a series. Even if it's a mini series of 90-minute episodes, six 90-minute episodes or something like that, it would have probably made more sense that way. Uh, you know, there were a lot of characters that were introduced and a lot of plot. There was super montage mode, and even the montage mode came off a little weak. But as a whole, and so here's sorry, I'm getting very off on this, but something I've noticed in the latest work. So far we've reviewed Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Scorpion's Revenge, and now this Mortal Kombat the 2021 film. And I've noticed a shift, at least on the movie side, on who they're trying to treat as the main character here, and they are really heavily siding with Scorpion as being super integral to the story. And they actually, sideline Liu Kang as more of just kind of a mentor for a little bit, and really sideline his character, where it's all about Scorpion and his descendant Cole Young. And it's kind of a weird shift, because even we saw this over in Scorpion's Revenge, where taking on the big bads was Scorpion. Liu Kang lost. All this kind of stuff. So it's very interesting to see the direction that this is going. So before I ramble even further, we'll get more into some of the other elements of it in accuracy and such like that. But as a whole, I'm going to rank the story at a B. The story was very rushed. There were a couple of bits like the marks and the Arcana thing that really seemed out of place, and trying to create reasons for certain people being involved that don't really make any sense. It's thrown in, but then it's, what is this? So not quite hitting the mark there, a little rushed, but we'll see how everything else looks. All right, so next up, we're going to take a look at the costumes. Now, costume design actually as a whole was pretty good. However, my problem with some of the costume design is it actually is really varying differently from original looks for a lot of characters, or just kind of how it looks. Once again, if you remember when I was talking about it in Mortal Kombat Annihilation about the masks, how they felt like they didn't really sit on their face very well. And I have the same problem with both Scorpion and Sub-Zero's masks, where they don't look like they're sitting very well. I'm super nitpicking about this one, and I don't know why it bugs me, but it just feels like, you look at the all the art and stuff like that, or even in the games, these masks are really well fitting to their face, but these ones look, because, I mean, they spend a bunch of time taking them off. Also, armored ninja looking like samurai is essentially how they've got Sub-Zero and Scorpion looking. And I don't know how I feel about that. Sonya looks good. Kano, I mean, we're used, if you look at the games, it's bare-chested, but he looks, on point enough. Once again, with the nature of how they did his eye laser, okay, I can see that. Raiden looks okay. Shang Tsung just looks like a Chinese warlord. Is actually what he looks like. Nothing. So I'm not really sure how. Cabal's gear looks way too bulky, I think, on him. Like his helmet looks really, really big on his head. and stuff like that. So there's stuff there that just feels a little off. It's not terrible. Like the designs look okay, but also like color choice and tone is very different. I mean, the only thing that's really blue about Bihan's gear is actually the armor, and at one point the armor gets taken off, and it's just the black, um, you know, ninja gi and all that. You know, where they're trying, I think they're really hard, trying really hard to make him look more like Noob Saibot than anything else. And so it was little things like this. And as a whole, we're gonna give the costumes a B. You know, they're serviceable. They look okay, but they're not like they don't make them as recognizable as they could be for characters. Some of them, yeah, they look fine. Uh, you know, Kung Lao looks on point, absolutely on point. Um, Parts of Liu Kang look on point, but you know, there's stuff that's really off about the outfits for both Scorpion and Sub Zero that don't lend to ninja and more to samurai, and that seems kind of off to me. Okay, so let's take a look at the special effects and combat effects. So as a whole, the actual visual effects look excellent. A lot of the special effect and CG that they did have in all the different character abilities from Scorpion's hook to the ice that they use for Sub Zero. It actually looks really good. Even a lot of the powers and abilities that everybody has, right down to Sonya Blade, don't look super cheesy, you know, in of it. The violence and the gore, you know, actually looks really Mortal Kombat, and that's, you know, that's actually that's a good thing about it. Natara looks a little weird. Like there's just some of the animation of her flight a little bit later that looks a little off, but you don't see enough of her to really pass judgment. Goro looks excellent. They definitely did a good job with how he looks and how he moves. It feels really good. It actually feels like, you know, you're looking at an actual Shogun and all that kind of stuff. So all of that's really good. A lot of the fight choreography is also really good as well. The great thing about some of the fight choreography, especially with some of the more rough and tumble fights like Kano and Sonya fighting, or Jax, is they're not trained martial artists. So their fighting style is more rough, unrefined, special forces, brawling, you know, physicality, using the environment to fight, and it looks really good. Whereas your martial artists have nice kicks, clean punches, you know, the style and form that go into being a martial artist. Some of the weapon choices may become a little bit weird. I'm certain if you were to look at some of the choreography, maybe it could have been done a bit better. But as a whole, it actually looks really good. All of the visuals look good. The choreography looks great. You know, there's little things that maybe aren't perfect, but it really is enjoyable to watch and easy to get into the action and the special effects that are going on. So we're gonna give the special effects an A. A lot of it is really well done. The fight choreography is great. The fighters feel like the different types of fighting styles that looks like they use, so it works really well. Most of the special effects look great. There are a couple of weird ones like Natara, but all in all, really well done. All right, let's take a look at the accuracy. So right off, one of the first things that basically goes, this is our own take, was Scorpion having two children. Because no matter the timeline and the continuity, Scorpion has always had his wife and his son murdered by the Lin Kuei and, of course, the rest of his clan. So adding the other relative, the surviving daughter, is a bit of a weird one. Um, it just also the fact that it's set way back in time. As far as I know, the actual, you know, the events that happened between the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu is actually a matter of decades, comparatively to when Mortal Kombat happens or when the tournament happens. So it being hundreds of years in the past, kind of does, you know, kind of seems a bit weird. Cole Young is a total unknown. This is somebody added specifically for this movie, which, I mean, that's fine. But when you're looking at accuracy, well, they're really heavily focusing on Scorpion being, kind of this very important factor, and Cole kind of being the new chosen one here. It kind of throws the script out the window from if you're looking at the games, comparing the storyline. Also, most of the cheating that Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn do actually happens after the tournament, unless there's some comic continuity that I don't know about from before the tournament. But yeah, all the cheating happens after they lose because they're like, nobody's going to beat us. We beat the legendary Kung Lao. We got this. We got this. It's when they don't got this that they go, we're going to have to cheat now. And so the cheating starting ahead of time also kind of throws off there. The feel of Shang Tsung is a little bit. I mean, he's the old man in the robes in the original Mortal Kombat, but like I said earlier, he kind of just looks more like a wushu film warlord as opposed to a sorcerer, and that seems a little weird. Uh, Introduction of certain characters, like this is supposed to be before Mortal Kombat 1, and if we're looking at just the characters that are introduced, well, no Johnny Cage. He's side noted, and they're looking into finding him after. Uh, Kano's there, Sub-Zero's there, Scorpion is there-ish. Raiden is there. Oh, excuse me. Liu Kang is there. Kung Lao, once again, descendant of Kung Lao. He doesn't show up until Mortal Kombat 2. Jax doesn't show up until Mortal Kombat 2. Goro's there, but he's killed by somebody else. And of course, offing Goro before the actual tournament happens. Taking out a couple other characters like Kano. Once again, this is all happening before the tournament. So now, okay, so we're completely going off script now because they're recruiting, and by the end of the movie, they're recruiting people for the tournament because apparently the tournament's still going to happen. But this is going to be a little weird. And they actually also already kill off Kung Lao right away by the end of the movie. So he's not even actually going to get to show up when he normally shows up in the timeline. So there's a lot of divergences from the timeline. The Arcana thing, so making Kano's cybernetic eye basically a magic power, making Jax's arms the same thing, a magic power essentially, and a couple other things. Like it makes sense for some of them. And then what was up with the Cole's armor thing? That's his power, and he can make Tonfa. I don't know. So, I actually kind of look at stuff. Reiko actually is another one that's interesting. That's an actual canon character, but he doesn't actually. Him and Nitara actually don't show up until like Mortal Kombat 5 or 6. So they're way in the later in the story arcs. So getting introduced really early. Yeah. So as a whole, like if I once again, my point with the accuracy section is actually go, okay, how on point is it to the game? And this one's way off. It takes the script and throws it out and does its own take on it, which is not a bad thing. But if you're looking at accuracy, whoosh, it's out the window. So we're going to give a final score for the accuracy of a C. Sure, the characters are name dropped in the right way. They're on the right sides, though the Kano and Sonya thing early on was a little weird until, of course, he betrays everybody because he's a dick. But, yeah, the series of events changes a lot. The who's involved in what is changed. I mean, we see Melina before we see Katana. We haven't seen Katana yet, but we've seen Melina and she's already dead. So what the hell? So, yeah. Accuracy, not so great. Okay, so was this movie fun? Yeah, it was fun. It was absolutely fun. It was rushed, but the Mortal Kombat the combat is excellent. The nods to the fatalities are great. Yeah, they've got some really corny lines that are mentioning flawless victory, fatality, that kind of stuff. Totally taking the cheese on that, which is not terrible. And several of the fatalities are actually well referenced. Liu Kang's, and I didn't talk about this in the special effects, but Liu Kang's dragon finish of Cabal is like right out of the game, and it's great. It was actually really good. Uh, there were a couple of things that felt a little weird to me. Once again, there's a lot of changes compared to the Mortal Kombat storyline and this version of it. But that doesn't detract from that. That can be an enjoyable, supernatural martial arts film. So, final score for the fun for Mortal Kombat, I think it's an A. It's enjoyable. The fatalities are there. The fact that it makes good use of its R rating to really get the characters the way that they fight. The blood is not over. The blood and gore is not over the top. It fits the game, the setting, and it works really well. And now we have arrived. Time to take a look at the final score. So overall, I think there was. I think the movie felt rushed. Um, it definitely deserved. It actually would have deserved to be like a miniseries, and we could have got more out of it. They changed the storyline a lot, and they actually diverged from the original Mortal Kombat storyline quite a bit. So we're gonna have to see what happens with their sequels to see what more they're gonna do with this particular movie story that they're telling. They've got a lot that they can go over. There's a lot of people to introduce, and it's going to be interesting to see how they introduce it coming up. But let's take a look at our final score. So our final score for Mortal Kombat 2021 is going to be a B. It's not a terrible movie by any stretch of the imagination. Um, and I mean, it's definitely better than the previous movies, but its accuracy kind of steps away. There's certain elements that are really goofy. The Arcana and the marks really, make no sense. And it just seems like a way to falsely inflate the need of these people. Plus, we have a totally new protagonist that I don't know how they're going to place him into this overarching hierarchy. Is Liu Kang out? He's no longer the chosen one. Is that what we're saying? Is Scorpion going to be still doing his thing? What are they going to do when they introduce the new Sub-Zero? Or are they going to introduce the new Sub-Zero? They're going to choose, Bihan's brother. There's a lot of questions, and how is the actual first tournament going to happen? Like, is movie 2 going to be the first tournament, or are we still going to be in Shang Tsung's cheating phase for another movie before we even get to what's going on with the tournament and how they're going to do that now that the actual tournament champion is dead, because it was Goro that won the other tournaments. Now he's dead. He's gone. So now what? So there's a lot of questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed checking this out. We will be back again with more movie reviews and other stuff here on the channel. You can also check me out over on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, see all the other stuff I'm doing, all the costume stuff I work on. Come hang out and play games. We're actually even in the process of setting up a Mortal Kombat 11 tournament. So head over to the Discord. You can find out more information about that. And yeah, have fun, keep gaming, and I'll see you guys again next time.